James,
How are you doing, Rohit?
how's it going, man?
Yeah, not bad. Let me get
It's the end of the week.
all centered. End of the
That's
week.
the best part of the show.
Weeks never end. It just means work goes into weekends.
And weekend activities. That's it. Welcome, everybody. It's another Friday, second episode of a little show we call Veterans Vault. We are veterans. We live in a vault. We play games from the vault. And James is here to introduce us to some new and old games that you're going to want to play this weekend, that's for sure. But before we get into the game, anything interesting happening this week from your side, James? So I've got something interesting I want to tell you about. Something that
gaming-wise, yeah. I just want to quickly give people a heads up on a new demo that's landed. A game I've been watching for a while. It's coming out later this year, called Replaced. It's a cinematic side-scrolling game with absolutely stunning 2.5D pixel art work. I don't know if you want to play some of the footage there so guys can see, but I've been looking forward to this demo for a while. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to try it this weekend though.
Oh, this looks interesting. So, I mean, what kind of is it it's like a side scroller.
It's a side scroller. It's a cyberpunk themed side scroller. So, I mean, side scroller is not a genre. It's like 3D platforming, thing like that. It's a way of building a game, representing a game. So you get lots of side scrollers. Yeah. This one though does really pull more into that cinematic side scroller. One of the classic examples being Flashback, maybe Prince of Persia. More recently, there were Planet of Lana was a big one as well.
Oh yeah.
So this falls really into that. If you like side scrollers, if you like things that are more movie-like, if you like cyberpunk worlds, if you like a combination of action and puzzles and some story building and all that, this seems to have a lot of it. Like I said, I haven't played the demo, but it is on Steam now. It released this week, and I suggest if this at all tickles your fancy, go jump onto it, because I think it's releasing in about 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I just added it to my wish list. This looks really fun to play. And again, I think this will also play well on a handheld gaming device, to be honest with you. Sit back on the couch or on a very big screen. This looks like it could be quite beautiful to look at as you play.
Yeah, I think it's both. And again, it's just amazing. Like this video doesn't really show it, but this uses a pixel art aesthetic. And it's not the pixel art from back in the day. It is so impressive how modern games are able to use pixel art at such a high level of fidelity. Plus blending it with other effects. You're seeing a lot of lighting effects there, a lot of fog effects, things like that. So there's a generation of games that are just amazing at doing this kind of thing. So to me, even if this is not a great game or a very short game, I still want to play it. It just looks so beautiful. Why wouldn't you want to just get into that world and just mess around in there?
No, exactly. I love the look of this. Now I've added it to my wish list. I will get it, and I'm sure we're going to feature it on the show when it comes out.
Yes, hopefully we will. I understand on your side, you've got something where I don't think I would need what you have to play this game, your hardware.
Yeah, so I actually just, if you guys want to check out the full thing, I've just released this video. The embargo just lifted. But this is a new graphics card from MSI. You can guess the price afterwards when I've explained to you what this card is. So it's a 5090X 32G, so it's got 32 gigabytes of video memory. This series of cards is only 1,300 of them made now, but I've actually seen there's a few additional ones that's custom made for certain tech influencers and YouTubers and journalists and stuff, which is very cool, like with their name on it. These are individually numbered from 0 to 1,300, and it's excessive in price. It's what makes this so unique, not just the build, everything. It's the fact that the chips that make up this 5090, it's kind of the golden samples. I'm sure you remember what those were from back in the day. They basically test all the dies from the wafer, and these are the top 1% of the chips that run the best. We got card number 29 there, as you can see.
Well,
Run the
Intel,
best.
Intel language. That's why you get i9, i7, i5, i3. It's about the quality.
Yeah. The Core Ultras now, well, the high-end chips. And then they have the engineering samples, which would be these ones, which is the ones that you can push the highest. Obviously, in terms of it's actually ridiculous in terms of benchmarks. I'm just kind of fast forwarding to it now. It's got an 8-inch screen on the side there. I mean, that's not bad, right? So you can watch a movie or your stats. It's actually very cool.
So you're gonna have a state-of-the-art graphics card, and you're still gonna have multiple screens. Are you still gonna sit there and watch your Netflix on your, expensive graphic cards runs a game? Yeah, I mean, okay.
Well, in fairness,
I'm not a PC builder anymore, and I'm not what I call a 4K gamer, right? But I know some people who would sell their house for a card like this.
Yeah, I know. We know some of those people personally too. Look, I played with a nice 4K monitor there too. But yeah, look, honestly, this thing is ridiculous. Benchmarking is actually just a joke because it just runs everything at, basically max that you can run it at the moment. As you can see, they're well over 300 frames per second on Ray Tracing Extreme in Cyberpunk. And that's not even overclocking it. That's just putting it on its highest extreme setting. So yeah, drool-worthy stuff. Sadly, it's gone back. I only had a few days with it. So now I'm back to my old 3060, 3070.
I don't knock it.
Life is dull.
I love my 3060. I'm not a big, but I'm not a 4K gamer. I'm happy with 1080p. I'd rather, have nice performance. When you think about it as well, I've been wondering about this. Gaming, a large chunk of gaming is moving into kind of the 1080p territory. Look at the Steam Deck, look at the Switch. And when you look at a lot of people who play those games, it's not like they have necessary consoles or big rigs. They are happy playing the games. And when you're especially playing a handheld over here, you don't need that high fidelity. I think also what is important to think about is, I don't know, what is the game High Guard? I don't know if you've been following any of the drama around High Guard.
Yeah, a lot of drama.
They recently, apparently, they're laying off half their staff because it wasn't doing good enough. When you need big teams like that, we've spoken about this before, that level of fidelity, that quality that you're pushing there is incredibly expensive and very, very risky. And then you get a game, of course, it's the other extreme, like Animal Well or Stardew Valley or so forth, that goes incredibly lo-fi but is terrifically successful. People spend thousands of hours playing in there. There was a time in the past when my opinion, where every increment of a graphics card gave you a tangible jump. I remember when I went from one of the early NVIDIA cards to the Voodoo 2, and then every time you had a new card, the games could take advantage and use it. But is it really that big a jump these days? I mean, there is a jump, but does it actually still make the game better? I don't think so. I think when you went from Quake 1 to Quake 2 to Quake 3, that was big. That was tangible. There was big. I remember when I went to Hexen, when the Hexen series went into the 3D engine, you could see the frame rate double from 20 frames a second to 40 frames a second between Quake and there. And nowadays, sure, you get them incrementally, but I have never had less fun because I'm sitting with a slower graphics card anymore. I don't think it happens unless you care about it. But that's a subjective thing. Objectively, I question whether we need these big graphic cards. But I know there's a lot of people who disagree with me on that.
Same with high-end anything. It's I mean, if you're playing at 4K and you just want the best of the best, and it's your sport or your passion or whatever, go for it. 1080p, 1440p, perfect for everybody else. And the other point you'd made, I had a very interesting conversation with Neo 2 weeks back, and if anybody's watching this, want to go check it out, we have it on YouTube as well.
Neo,
very interesting conversation.
Editor, isn't he?
Yeah, well, not anymore, but he's coming. We still chat all the time. He's still, we consult him a lot.
Big hardware
but
fan, that guy, yeah.
He's doing a lot with his own brand, the Overclocker, also but high end. Again, he's looking at the high end stuff in terms of overclocking. Well, pushing hardware and technology. Overclocking has become less of a thing now because, to your point, you don't really, the performance you get out of the box and the out of the box overclocking that you can do with software like MSI Overburner, makes it very easy. So, unless you're pushing for benchmark results, for most of us, things like frame generation is going to start playing a bigger role, where your lower hardware is going to give you more frames and arguably a much better experience.
Don't get me started on that DLSS and all that.
Oh no,
you're
a naysayer.
I'm not a fan. I think it makes developers lazy. I've seen too many betas games, too many indie games, too many half-ass done AA games, and even AAA, where you could see like, oh, we don't have time for this, so hey, let's just generate the extra frames to optimize our stuff instead of optimizing it. People complain about AI content in games, but they're not complaining about AI frame generation. But it's the same. It's inferior. Right? But anyway, it's a topic for a different
I think we're
day.
going to have to, let's set another, because, I think our viewpoints, we're going to have a beer over that one. Raymond is saying he still remembers having to choose between hardware and software rendering when he got his first NVIDIA Rivia 8 megabyte card back in the day. Couldn't believe how Need for Speed looked on it. Yeah, there were massive jumps, because, that was still, in many ways, infancy of gaming. So, yes, that would have been there. But it means for everybody who wants to get into gaming, or at least game on a budget, we are in the best space in gaming history, honestly. Not only do you have access to very mature games.
We were until AI shot memory prices through the ceiling. So we're in the best time to buy second-hand hardware. Go buy second-hand hardware.
Even that's going to shoot up in price, right? Supply and demand.
Yeah,
but anyway.
it already has. I find it amazing that not long ago I bought a card with 12 gigs of RAM because 8 gigs does not cut it anymore. And now we're seeing them saying, oh, they bring out 8 gig cards. I'm like, well, are you telling the developers about that? Because so many games just don't run well on 8 gigs anymore. Especially the AAA stuff. But look, I agree, and it's not just it's accessible because you get very nice mid-tier cards. There used to be a time when you bought a mid-tier card, it just wasn't good. Now you can buy store. If you get something in the 30 or 40 range from Nvidia, for example, those are decent cards. They will carry you. You're not going to get full fidelity. So if you bought that massive HDR screen and all that, maybe not. But if you just want to play games, and if you don't feel like you're being thrifted on this, mid-range cards are great. And if you're watching at the competition coming out of Intel's Arc stuff, with stuff AMD's doing, I think Nvidia has taken their eyes off the ball, focus on AI. So I think that we're going to actually get a renaissance in graphics cards as well. But the memory thing is an issue right now. Unfortunately, hopefully a lot of people are scaling up. In a few years, we're going to have a lot more memory production. So maybe not right now, hold on to your rig, but give it a few years and you'll probably be able to get some really nice deals and really powerful hardware at a good price.
Yeah, Keegan says second-hand hardware is the way to go. So, okay, I'm going to say one thing closing, James, then we're going to get into our game.
All right.
And this, to me, is the point where frame generation is going to really help. Because we don't have access to potentially the hardware that could run the game better. I don't disagree with what you're saying in terms of some games aren't optimized, but yeah, let's definitely have another conversation about that. Done. Okay.
Yeah,
Done. Okay, so we're going to show you a little trailer now of the game we're featuring this week. It's a gem that James discovered. How long have you been doing this game? Is it a fairly new one for you?
Yeah, less than a month. But very, very surprised. So let's play the trailer and then I'll get into it.
I've got the other trailer too. Let me put the trailer that you shared rather. That's a better one.
Yeah, this will be the launch trailer. It came in 2022, which is just more accurate because there's a lot of DLC for this game.
Ooh, a lot of DLC. Oh. Okay, is the audio going? Yes. Let's hope it works. There we go.
No, I'm not getting any audio. I suppose while you look at that, let me explain what we're looking at here then. while that is playing. So 4X. This is a 4X game. If you are familiar with 4X, I don't explain it. If you're unfamiliar, I absolutely have to explain it. The best way to explain this is if you know the game Civilization. This is very much inspired by Civilization. I'll get into the details in a second. But a 4X game is basically a turn-based grand strategy game, but one where you also build things on the ground. In the case of this style of game, you build cities, you build the infrastructure around them, you build units, you battle other factions, you explore the land, you find resources, you build your economy. Like I said, the classic example of this is Civilization. I don't know, Reichardt, were you ever a Civilization player?
I was not very good at it. I loved those type of games, but I've realized then my mind isn't strategy as much. But yes, a lot of fun with them. But you do need to, sit down and spend some time thinking about things. But I'm gonna, this looks like the kind of thing I would want to try.
Well, I'll push back on you there because I don't like strategy games. I think you know me well enough to know while other people are playing 4D chess, I run around and hit things with sticks. Okay, I was the caveman who was just throwing rocks at stuff. So I don't like strategy games a lot. I have a handful of strategy games that I will play, but I've always been a Civilization fan because Civilization gives you, I don't know, I like the weird scope it gives you, the history it gives you, the interaction, etc. Now, Old World is a game that was made by one of the previous Civilization designers. I think it was Civilization 3. And they made this, released it about in 2022. It is, if you have played Civilization, it is a lot like Civilization, but it is much more streamlined. It's a much faster game in how you play it, how you exploit resources, etc., how you settle your areas. And then it also has a dynastic element in that you actually start with a leader and you can choose who they marry and you can choose who their heirs are. You can choose which families you are friendly to in this game. And with that, if you do it right, you get extra resources and points from all of that. Your character will eventually die and then somebody new will take over. It's not stupidly in depth as you get with a lot of these kind of dynastic management games, but it's enough there to give a nice strategic side so that you're both running your empire and exploring and building armies and stuff. You're doing diplomacy of other nations, but you also have this family that and acquaintances that you're managing that gives a nice side to it. And I just want to point that out because I usually deeply dislike dynastic systems. I get so bored. I get so annoyed. I like, who cares who this person is? Who cares what they want to do? Why do I have to be nice to them? But because all of this meshes together so nicely, it's just a joy to play in that way. And I'm very hands off with the dynastic stuff. I'm sure if I competitively played against somebody who uses it very well, they'll kick my butt. But I'm still having fun. So yeah, so I would say if you like a Civ style game, but you find Civ style games to be too overwhelming or too difficult or too technical, this is a good one to look at.
Okay, so that kind of answers my question. Is it something that a novice or a noob should pick up if they're not familiar with this genre?
Yeah, I think they would. It has a very extensive tutorial. I think it took me 4 hours to play through the 6 tutorial lessons, which is, that's just this type of game. So they explain the concepts very well. But what I also like is the information is not very convoluted. The resources you pull, you can easily see what your resources, how much you're pulling in. You can see which city is doing more. It seems that everything in the game is shared as a pool. So if you generate enough food, it feeds all your cities. I do have to just speak under correction here. I've not played enough of this game to really get into some of the technical details. There's a lot of depth you can unearth. This is just my experience so far playing it. But what you end up with is a much more streamlined and often faster game than Civilization. Civilization games can last hours and hours and hours. Whereas I have, with somebody played a multiplayer game where within 3 hours you've played the game. Another big difference between this and Civilization, this only covers ancient periods. It does not go into modern eras or technologies. I'm not exactly sure where it caps itself, but the focus here is on ancient technologies, ancient periods, lots of historical figures in there. So you don't get this ridiculousness where somebody suddenly invents technology that just is a level or two above what you have, and now they're kicking your butt, which is a big issue for me in currently Civilization 5, 6, and 7, which also, I mean, 6 I've played a lot, 5 as well. So yes, this is by people who know Civilization. They've worked on Civilization. In fact, the developer Mohawk Games was founded by a guy called Soren Johnson, who was the lead designer of Civilization 4. And
Nice.
everything that was wrong with Civilization or stagnant to all that, I kind of feel is addressed here. And it does it better if people know the genre. You get games like Millennia and Humankind. I've played them as well. I hands down prefer Old World. I think it is far better than any of those. And frankly, it is far better than Civ 7. And to me, on par with Civ 6 and Civ 5, but less convoluted.
Okay, so take us through a play-by-play. No, I'm just kidding.
Very quick.
Raymond's actually asking, is 4X something like Dune?
So which Dune? There is a Dune strategy game that came out recently that would sit in 4X territory. So 4X is strictly strategy. So first thing is, it is strategy and it is turn-based. So it's not the same as real-time strategy. So for example, you had Dune 2000 way back in the day, was one of the first real-time strategy games. You get a turn in which you make your moves, then your opponent gets a turn, which they make their moves. What makes this game different, though, from something like Civilization is you actually have a limited amount of orders that you can spend during a round. So you can't actually move and do everything. Everything requires orders. So you have to prioritize what you give orders and what they do. And also, for example, if you tell a builder to build something, while they're building, every round they're going to consume a certain amount of orders. But you can increase the amount of orders you get per round through improving your legitimacy, and there are other ways as well. So it's a balance of expanding the amount of orders you get, using them smartly, and then building up your cities. You colonize new cities, you create new cities, you colonize new areas, you improve your cities to build resources. If you look there at the top, you can see there's the apple for food, there's also money, there's stone, there's iron. So you build basic things to get you those. Certain tiles will give you bigger yields. And then you expand, and as you expand with more cities and you build your power, you encounter other nations. There are both small tribes and large nations. And this is a small map where there are several small tribes. You can actually, I think, see one of them up there. And there's a city site. The game predetermines where you can put cities. So the rush is a bit different to moving around than Civ, but it's more orderly. And then in this game, you also have the Romans and the Greeks. And at the end of the day, you can win by building more wonders. You can win by conquering them. There are various things that you can set that will help you advance and beat your opponents.
So Raymond says, yeah, that was Spice Wars he was talking about.
Yes, very fun game. I'm a big fan of it. That one is a little bit more real time. I haven't played it in a while. I played it when it came out. I would say that is Spice Wars was a mix between 4X ideas and real time strategy ideas. It's a hybrid game that fits between the two.
So you also mentioned Frostpunk too, and that's another game that I heard so many people told me about it, and then I started playing it for a bit. And people that don't normally, I would have imagined, play this type of game. Yeah, it's interesting.
Frostpunk is like a very hardcore city builder. So and these are all overlap genres, but the city builders really focus on building a city and managing the nuances inside a city. Whereas a game like this, you manage your cities and you build them, but you manage multiple cities. So it's only one aspect of a larger game. Now, in Civilization, a individual city would require a lot of babysitting because you really had to nurture each one individually. Well, I find Year of Old World, because it merges a lot of the management elements, as long as your cities overall thrive, you're okay. You're not suddenly going to have one city go completely off the rails because you didn't build enough farms there or something like that. You still have to look at individual happiness. You can assign bonuses and governors and stuff to manage that. But again, they took a lot of these ideas from Civilization and other 4X games, and they built a much more compact, streamlined version, in my opinion. It's just more fun to play. That's why I've been enjoying it so much. It also gives you a little bit more diversity in how you play. The problem with playing with some Civilization guys is they really know how to get the right strategies and they kick your ass in no time. This one's got a little bit more variability. There's also an RNG element here that you cannot specifically choose your, you might see it now, you can't choose what you research. It gives you a set of cards and you have to choose from one of them. So every playthrough, you don't exactly know what you're going to get. You can't stick to every strategy at the same time, and that actually makes it a lot more fun.
Oh, it seems like it's quite a lot of strategy that you have to implement, which is something I don't necessarily have in games. I was about to ask facetiously if I could go in RTS, go in first-person style, and just start taking out villages. No, it doesn't work like that.
Here's what I'm going to say. If this tickles your fancy, but you're not sure, the other big bonus about this game is it's far cheaper than all the competitors. I think base version is less than 400 rands. You can pick this up on sale now and then for less than 200 rands. You can play around in it a little, so it's low risk. You can play around in a bit of a tutorial and see if you like it and then refund it if you don't like it. And if you really do like it, there is a ton of DLC content for this as well. That's actually why they push the sales, because they're actually trying to get people to do the DLCs. But it's very much a cult game. It's a niche game. A lot of people don't know about it. And I'm hoping to change that because it has excellent polish. It really understands the genre it's in. The multiplayer system it's brilliant. It's got everything from real-time playing to play by cloud, where you can play turn by turn, to hot seating, all of that. If you're a Civilization or Millennium or Humankind player, you really have to try this. And if you are not, and this looks remotely interesting, running an empire and a dynasty for a couple of thousand years, then you should also try it. And like I said, $400 or less. Not a lot of games. The new Diablo is $800, and that's Diablo 2 Remaster. I mean, it's half the price of the Diablo 2 Remaster. So, yeah.
And that's exactly the kind of game we'll be talking about on the show every week at 1 p.m. So, I mean, you basically answered my question. Certainly not a game aimed at me, but thank you for clarifying. And I think we had a few interesting questions to this regard too. Just who would have fun with this game? But there's no doubt, looking at the ratings, that the fan base is loving it.
It's a big cult game. And in fact, I think what I want to do is maybe this will help people understand 4X a bit more. Reichardt, I'm going to put you on the spot. I've got some trivia for you to ask, to sit around the game today, or the genre.
Let me get my AI ready. I'm not using.
All right.
So, Siri, switch on. No, I'm just joking. Let's go.
Well, you can't trust what they say anyway. 9 out of 10 questions are going to be correct of AI. But that last one, that's the problem. Okay, why is this genre called 4X?
Well, I mean, is it trading Forex currency between the nations?
No, there's no way of a crypto scam.
No idea.
So it was actually coined by a game reviewer, a game writer. He was previewing Masters of Orion for Computer Gaming World in 1993, a guy called Alan Emmerich. And he rated the game 4X, XXXX. It was a pun on triple X, but he said it stands in abbreviation for explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. So that's why it's called 4X now. That's the gameplay. You explore, you expand, you exploit, and you exterminate. And so, yeah.
That is interesting. Good pub quiz question. Good pub quiz question.
So what year was the first Civilization game released?
I want to say like early 90s?
Yeah,
mid-90s?
You're in the ballpark. 1991. It was developed by Sid Meier, who, along with a guy, Bruce Shelley, who was a veteran board game designer. then they were also inspired by illustrated history books, and as well as a game called The Seven Cities of Gold, which was released in 1984. And previous to that, a lot of people think Civilization was Sid Meier's first game, but previous to that, he had actually already made Sid Meier's Pirates and Sid Meier's Tycoon.
Sid Meier was a kick-ass dude back in the day.
Yeah, he still is in a way. I wonder what I'm now thinking of Peter Molyneux, but yeah, Sid Meier's still around doing stuff. But yes, no, between him and Will Wright, I think Will Wright made the Sim game, Sim City, Sims, Sim Earth. So they pretty much created that genre. Now, interesting one, because Civ 7, the newest Civilization, not a very popular game, but it helps lead in here on what is the Civilization game with the record for the most concurrent players? This is on SteamDB.
I wonder, how would you compare that to anything? Like 100,000?
Yeah, close. So Civilization 6 peaked at 657,000 players.
That's a lot.
This is quite a bit higher in Civilization 6, 84,000, and Civilization 5's 91,000. Now, to show Old World is such a cold game, I think it peaks at 3,000, and that saddens me because it's a fantastic game. So please, if you don't play this game, buy it for a friend who likes this game. It's just, give it a try. It's a cool little game. And then, last question, what was the first 4X game? I know you know this one, right, Clark? The very, very first 4X game.
Very first one. I probably played it as well. Is it
Yeah,
something
I
like...
think you're too young to have played it.
No, I wouldn't even know what to guess. I give
So, I think you were born by this. I was. So, yeah, I think we both were. Reach for the Stars from 1983 for the Commodore 64, and the Apple II in 1985 was the first one. It's since come out to other things, including Amiga, MacOS, and DOS. However, some people say
What is that game called again? Just
Reach
what's its name
for
again?
the Stars.
What would it even look like? What was
They
the
all kind of
primary...
have this top-down pixel style thing going.
I
In
can't
fact,
remember.
there is an older one that was from 1977, I believe. It was called Warfare. I think that's the right name. And but because it was only initially released for the PDP-10 mainframe, obviously nobody played that because I don't know. Have you ever owned a mainframe? You know, so.
Yeah, when my younger days, yeah, definitely.
Oh, there we go.
No, I'm just pulling
but
up this game here. Check this out. I mean, we've come a far way.
Yeah, there we go. That's what 4X gaming looked like in the early 80s. There's also another one called the first one that may have been formally made for consoles, even though all of these technically landed on a console somewhere. It's called Centurion, Defender of Rome, from 1990. That is considered the first console native 4X game. And of course, by 1991, we have Civilization, and Civilization just sets the bar for the genre. Sets the bar for the genre. And ever since then, it's been games like that, Masters of Orion being another one. There's a whole genre of different, especially intergalactic 4X games, but Civilization is not only the benchmark, it is the one for history or playing with older civilizations. But the interesting thing that there's been at least a decade of 4X games before this. Of course, 4X only getting a genre name, like I said, in 1993 with that preview in Computer Gaming World.
Sure. I keep getting reminded looking at that footage of just... I mean, when we were growing up, we had the basics, right? Imagine just knowing what you know now, just in terms of we are living in the future, and we have the most amazing games at our disposal, honestly.
That's what I say.
Even at the most basic tech.
I don't think you need the latest graphics card today to have a fantastic gaming thing. I remember when Quake came out, I didn't have 4 gigs of RAM on my machine. I couldn't play Quake because Quake needed that. You had to go up to 8 gigs because between the operating, I think Quake needed 4. So you just couldn't play Quake. period. Like you couldn't, there was no low frame rate or anything like. You just couldn't play the game. Period. You couldn't until you had 8 gigs of memory, and that's when it meant like hardware stopped you from playing a game. But I mean now it just stops you from playing the game at its most ridiculous pretty version. And maybe weirdly because I don't like it, but the thing about frame generation and that, I'm going to start asking if stuff like DLSS and all that become popular, do you actually need a new graphics card? Do you need a high-end card? Because it's all being done more and more on the software level. So how much does the actual hardware, will hardware matter in 5 years as much as it did now? It's maybe a future conversation.
No, definitely
but,
not. Definitely not. Again, for anybody listening, check out the interview I did with, or the podcast I did with Neo. He's got some very interesting insights on this too. And basically what you said now, hardware doesn't really matter anymore. You know, unless you have specific applications, most of your games would be able to play on basic hardware that is software accelerated or in some way to get you that high performance that you would require high-end hardware for otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, these
Fantastic.
days you need the graphics card for 2 reasons: crypto scams or AI slop. I mean, anything else. Otherwise, you could just get a 30 series, you know, while they're still available. While Nvidia still makes good cards, another topic for the future. I'm worried about Nvidia. I think they too, all their best minds are going towards AI, and they're like leaving us with the dregs, you know. But maybe we should have Neo on the show one day so you can talk about that. Should you
Yeah,
buy?
well, definitely. We should dial him in when we have that conversation for sure. Yeah, look, I would say, go and get it while it's hot. At least we got enough to play with, enough to keep us busy for a while, and lots to play this weekend.
Yes, please
Thank
try
you.
Old World. Good price out there, worth toying with. I think it's also a very good gateway game for 4X. If you're not sure if you would like 4X or not, yeah, try Old World. I think it's streamlined. It looks good. Nice soundtrack. It is so nicely done. It is so well built. It deserves a much bigger audience, both for people who like the genre and people who don't know the genre. So yeah, go out and get it tried this weekend.
Well, thank you so much, James, for that really deep and insightful insight. And I think you've answered a lot of questions for a lot of people watching this after the fact. You're going to go, yeah, I'm going to go check this out.
Check out
Thank
YouTube
you.
videos of all on it. A lot of people, they love it.
Oh yeah. Start with this. Let this be the gateway video, and then you will get sucked into all the DLC that you spoke about. Thank you.
Also, next week we're going to look at something a bit more mainstream, but a game that's close to my heart. Also made technically by a AA studio, but a complete 180-degree difference from what we spoke about today. So yeah, we'll see you guys then.
I love the change in directions here. That is very cool. We're going to learn a lot, and we're going to play a lot of
keep it
games. Always keep it fresh. Never let people know your next move. All right, James.
Change
I
your
know
games,
we need
not
to.
your underwear.
Nothing else to say. Thank you, James. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
No,
Cheers, guys.
guys.